Hey, Alvernia community. Our alumni spotlight this month is alumnus Alex Roché. He's been doing some great things in our community in his new position. So I can't wait to just dive in and hear all the things about his journey. So welcome, Alex. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Danielle. It's great to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to talk and shout out.
You're welcome. So just for starters, can you tell me what your degree from Alvernia is?
So my degree, I did a double major in forensic science and biochemistry, pre-med. So uh, wait for the plot twist. It's super fun. But that is where, I came to Alvernia thinking I was going to be a doctor and kind of going down that route. And the plot twist comes that, and you'll hear in a little bit more about my job in public service and in nonprofit management. So it's a little strange of a journey, but yeah, I came to Alvernia as a science major, and I love science. Don't get me wrong. It's the root of everything that I am, and research is kind of the root of everything I do. But at the end of the day, now I work in public service, so it's kind of weird how you get to those points. So yeah.
So when you entered college as a freshman, you're like, yeah, I want to be a doctor. So what did that look like for you at the time? You were like, yep, this is what I want to be a doctor in. This is what I want to do.
It kind of shifted over time. I really wanted to go into getting my MD and working in the forensics field as in medical examiner somewhere in there, working with victims and stuff like that. And I think it's just because I met someone like someone in high school that did that work, and it made me very kind of interested in it. And I was good at science, so science and math, right? Like that's everything. I was really good at it, so it's like, oh, you got to do that, which was great. Honestly, it was a great base, and kind of doing that program really kind of helped. And then it evolved. I met some of the professors at Alvernia, and I was like, you know what? I'll go get my PhD instead, and do it in analytical chemistry or pharmacology or something like that. And I was like, ooh, that's a great idea. Or maybe I'll do my MD and PhD. Ooh, like, and really not have time for anything. Like maybe that's what I'll do. And in my senior year, it was kind of crazy that I just like hit this wall. I remember it was fall of my senior year, and I had no idea what to do. I'm like applying for the MCATs, and I'm applying for PhD programs, and I have one professor, I'm doing research with, and I love it. It's a great experience. Like student teacher relationship was awesome. I mean, she was an awesome mentor. And then one day I decided, and I had always kind of been into community service. I've done it my whole life. It's like a root from my parents. That's just like you give back. Like that's what you do. Like that was just our family roots. And so I did it throughout college. But I did a Franciscan Friday. I don't. Is that still a thing? I hope it is, because I love that program through the Hollering Center, where you just take half a day on Friday and you go volunteer somewhere. And
Mhm.
I did a Franciscan Friday at a community garden and one fall, and just like it felt so peaceful. Just like taking a moment, and I met an AmeriCorps member. So AmeriCorps is like the domestic Peace Corps, um, and you kind of go different places. You can go different places, but you pick a community to work in, really, and a topic to work in. And I met this AmeriCorps member that worked through Alvernia on sustainability projects in the city, and I just like really liked it. I was like, dang, this is the first time I've kind of been at like peace in a little while. And then I met Dr. Alicia Sproul. She's an assistant or associate professor of leadership at the university now, the director of the Eco House. She's awesome. And we just like got coffee or something. I remember at Kestrel Cafe.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's again. I haven't been
yeah, it's there.
around in a sec. Cool. And we were just like talking, and she was like, "You ever want to like you can take a chance on things, right? Your life isn't
Mhm.
decided at 22. You can take a year. You can take time to figure things out." And I don't know if it was a sales pitch, because we got along really well, and she just wanted me to kind of roll into an AmeriCorps position and work with her, or if it was just like, and I actually lean towards this. I'm sure she was just being a genuine person, because that's what you get at Alvernia, right? Like, you just get genuine teachers and like genuine people that want to see your life go in a good direction. And she just like gave me that advice. And so I ended up applying for an AmeriCorps job and put the MD PhD. I was like, let me take a year break, decide what I actually want to do before I jump into like a 4 to 8 year commitment on something that might not even be what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Like, because so many people are so sure, and that's awesome for you. I was not. It's so like, it's so sure about what they want, and like, that's so cool. I am not that person. I'm very decisive. I'm the decision maker, but when it came to my life, I was like, eh, we'll figure it out, you know. And so I ended up applying for, you know, an AmeriCorps job and ended up working through Alvernia for 2 years in sustainability projects across the city. And I just met these amazing people that showed me the importance of community, and how much community actually mattered to me, and how much service mattered to me, and how much helping people. And then I really took time to think about it. And I was like, oh, at the root of all of it, the reason I wanted to do that stuff was because I wanted to help people. And I didn't know that that was the root. I thought it was like, you know, all XYZ and all of this in front of it, but really like the A placement, the root was, oh, you just want to help people. Well, there are so many more ways you can do that besides just like, you know, becoming a teacher, you know, which is great. I still think maybe someday I end up in education, or, you know, because I love education. It's like my favorite place, but I love being in school also. Just finished my master's and it was a delight. And then like the other route is like, you don't have to be a doctor, you know, and all of this stuff. Like, and I think when I was a kid, that's the person who helps people, right? The doctor helps people, so you want to help people, go be doctor. And that's kind of how, and even as a 22-year-old, that was still like my thought process. But then taking 2 years and like being the boots on the ground, being grassroots, working in gardens, working with people, meeting people, talking to a community of people, I realized I want to help people and I want to be in this community. Like, I'm so desperate to be a part of this community because it just feels like home, which is crazy because I didn't even, you know, as an 18-year-old, you're like, I want to leave, angsty 18-year-old. Let's leave my hometown. Let's go somewhere. Let's do something. And uh, yeah, cool. Like, that's awesome. But then as a 24-year-old, I'm like sitting there just like, why did I want to get away from here? Like, I don't understand why I ever wanted to get away from here, because everything I've been looking for is right here for me. And I know it's different for every person. And so that's how, you know, it led from biochemistry and forensic science. And then you meet the right person. And I truly mean you meet the right person. Because had I not gotten coffee or a snack wrap or something with Alicia that day, and met her at a garden, I wouldn't end up on a public service path, which then led to me working in nonprofit with a group called the Food Trust for 5 years, doing community education and working on food access projects, starting farmers markets across the city. And it was so much fun meeting the community even further that way, through education, through community meetings, through like making this network of friends, not just like networking, like, you know, that let's go to cocktail hour type thing, but really like building this network of friends that like, when you're having a bad day, you're like, hey, can we grab a cup of coffee? Like, I just need to shoot the breeze. And people are
Mhm.
there for you. It's crazy. I had no idea of this concept when I was a kid. And
Yeah.
it led to me wanting to go get my master's. I spent a lot of time kind of working through that. And back in 2022, I moved out to Colorado, took a break. You know, I think it's really great to take a break and get perspective, especially when you care
Mhm.
about something, you know,
Yep.
because caring and being jaded are so close to each other, right? Like,
It's
the
true.
relationship between caring about something and getting jaded about it is way closer than
Mhm.
anyone ever thinks, right? And you can care about something so hard, and you're one choice and one decision away from maybe being jaded about it. So my fiance and I moved out to Colorado. And I did my master's at the University of Colorado, Denver. Lived in Denver, Colorado for 2 years, and was in their accelerated master's in public admin program, where I met even more amazing people that had similar paths. And it was like, oh yeah, I just one day finally realized that the target was helping people. And it's like, wait, I did that too. It took me way longer than I thought, but oh my God, like that's crazy, you know? And so
Mhm.
I met some amazing teachers out there too, teachers and peers, right? Peer learning is great, you know, and I learned from them, and I learned from the professors, and I learned, and I gained this like needed perspective that when I came back here, it was almost like crystal clear for the first time ever what I wanted to do. And that was help people, and that was help people through economic development, and help people through like managing and helping the community connect with what we are doing here in the city of Reading. So that is kind of how I ended up from a biochemistry and forensic science major that thought the only way to help people was being a doctor, to meeting the right person, to now being where I am. And it's a whirlwind. It's been 10 years, which is kind of crazy to think
Wow.
about. 10 years since I graduated. Um, and I met, and if it's not for Alvernia, and if it's not for me resisting the urge of transferring my first year and getting away, you know, and doing all that, never would have been here. Like, so I can't thank it enough. But also, it's crazy how these journeys happen. And you leave school as a science major thinking you have one route and you have this fixated goal. And I know some people are like that. And I congratulate them and applaud them, because my gut told me so many different things, and it turns out they were mostly wrong sometimes. So yeah, anyway, that's a long answer to the what was your degree in question. So
But
uh
like in the process, you literally figured out what your why was, like
yeah,
what you were
and
passionate about, who you were. And it was, if you weren't an open-minded person and you didn't keep an open mind to meeting people and trying new things, you wouldn't have figured this out. It's part of the
totally,
process.
totally. And like being open to the process is it's like the I think the most important part is like I also like had no idea, and like I know for a fact high schools are doing better at it now. I had no idea what jobs actually looked like out there and what
Yeah,
careers looked like. Oh my God.
right.
It's not just doctor, or it's not like
Mhm.
what the career like doctor, firefighter, policeman, teacher,
Nurse. Yeah.
nurse. Like there's so much more.
Mhm.
Heck, I am proud to say, and my fiance is an occupational therapist. I didn't even know what an occupational therapist was at 18. I didn't know what that was. I knew what a physical therapist was because of my knee surgery, but I had no idea what an OT was at 18 and what they
Yeah, no.
did. And now I know way too much about it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
All the
crazy.
crazy things. Yeah. You just
Yeah.
never know. Like, even when you're in college, okay, there's professors and, administrators, but who would have ever thought there's people doing all the other work at a university, you know?
Well, and I'll talk about it, I think, a little more later, you know, once we kind of make our way down. But it's just like also this idea of like being good at science. And I loved that I love science. It's like, and research is like one of my favorite things. Like sitting there, going down a rabbit hole, that's one of my favorite pastime activities. It's just like getting lost in a rabbit hole and just like hyper fixating on something for way too long until you realize it's been 4 hours and you certainly didn't do the dishes yet. Like that is one of my favorite things to do. Like getting credible like research and learning, and it goes back to that education thing, and
Hmm.
learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and trying to figure out how something ticks is like that is next to none a fun Saturday for me, among other things. But you never know, right? It's crazy. Anyway, sorry. I could talk about that. I could just keep going on about hyperfixation. So, uh,
You're good. So you kind of briefly mentioned in the thing when you were a student at Alvernia, some of the things you were involved in. And so part of that was getting this job at the AmeriCorps, correct? So
yeah,
were you involved in any other clubs or things around Alvernia? Like how did that get you connected?
yeah. So during my 4 years, I'm an arts kid. I grew up playing like 10 instruments. So I play a lot of musical instruments. I was involved in choir, and I worked for the music department as a work study for a couple of years. Loved it in there. Shout out Carol Schwanger and Jenny Mahalik. They were awesome. And Jim Seidel, the music program there while we were there was awesome because again, they were just people that were like, it wasn't about music, it was about you and
Mhm.
figuring out you. And it's crazy that you would even get that through that, but it's every professor there just has this like this drive to help you figure you out, and that's so wonderful. I did a lot of volunteering with the Holleran Center. Um, my friend Alyssa I know is over there. Alyssa Slade and I go way back. She's awesome, and I know she's doing a great job running that department. So big shout out to her. And we met through service at the Holleran Center, and then we worked together a little bit, and it was awesome. I was a resident assistant. That's also another thing that really kept me engaged in Alvernia was, being a part of the community there. I was a commuter my first year, and I really did like commuting. I mean, there were really good aspects of it, like that separation felt really good. But then I had no idea how much better it felt to be engrossed in the community. So becoming an RA and moving onto campus and being part of that community felt really good. Yeah, what else did I do? I did a couple of things. And yeah, then I worked in the learning center too. Actually, Megan King and Danielle Saad were awesome directors while I was at the learning center. Big shout outs to them too. Megan and Danielle helped me figure a lot of this out. They were people that pushed me to take that year because they
Mhm.
themselves took time to figure out what they wanted to do. Megan was a high school teacher forever, an
Yeah.
English teacher. In fact, she taught my sister in high school. And then I meet her at Alvernia years later, and we reconnect, and she's like, "Your career doesn't stop. Like there are checkpoints and there are points in your career. It doesn't stop though, and your interests always evolve. Your interests are not singular. There is a duality to all of them, and they will continue to evolve as you continue to evolve." Right? Like
I think
my
that's go ahead.
no, 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 just mind blown after you.
I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions when students start college is, oh my gosh, I have to figure out in these 4 years or right now, like what I'm doing with the rest of my life and what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's like that changes so much the older you get, the more you find out your passions and you do different things. And it's like you need a degree, you need that solid foundation, but you can do anything with it.
Yeah, and I think, and to be, keep it completely transparent, I think a lot of that pressure comes from the money involved, right? Like, and
Mhm.
and not, I don't know if this taboo or not, but like when you're spending, like for me, it was on me. Like college was on me. It was all the loans, everything. It was on me. My parents did a lot to raise me, and I am thankful for them every day. But paying for college was not in our cards. I am one of six
Mhm.
children. Paying for college was not in any of our cards, although we all graduated college and we all paid for it and we all found our way through it. But that pressure is pretty intense. It's like you have 4 years and you're paying for it. So figure it out. You have to figure it out. And yeah, it's a lot of pressure. So taking that time before college and high school and or after or whenever it is, and fortunately that's why I love this leadership model of like professorship at Alvernia of like it's about people. It is so people
Right.
oriented. At least in my experience, it has always
Yeah.
been people oriented. And that I think that's so drastically different from some of my friends' experiences in college is like it's so people oriented that even though I was spending the dollars and like and stuff like that, it felt really good to take that time. It felt like I was still making an investment that was worth it, even though I didn't know what I was doing yet. you know?
That's important to recognize, like, a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. And it's a lot of pressure. You're 18 years old. And for me, like I'm 18 and I'm signing documents that say, when I'm 22, I got to figure out how to pay off X amount of dollars. It's a lot of pressure. And
Yeah.
it's also a commitment that not everybody at 18, I myself included, really knew what I was getting into. And I'm
Mhm.
fortunate that I ended up at a place that is so people oriented and leadership oriented that it really kind of still set me on this track that I was able to figure it out while I was there and figure it out after, and be stable in my direction,
Right.
even though I was directionless.
Right.
Yeah,
It's an investment in yourself for sure. That's what it
for
is.
sure. Anyway.
So, talk to me a little bit about what you are currently doing in your new position here.
So it was actually yesterday was 1 year ago that my fiance and I moved back to Reading. We left Colorado at like January 23rd or something like that, and we got back to Reading, to the house we're living in, on the 26th. So it's kind of weird. It's been 1 year. It's the 1 year anniversary, and I'm doing this thing.
Exactly. Congrats.
Very cool. Uh, and as much as I love Colorado and I miss Denver, it's not Reading. And every time I say that to someone, it's I don't know. Sometimes you're meant to be a place, and this is a place I'm meant to be. So, but since getting back, I spent some time. So while on that journey, so a part of my journey has been taking a 5 year hiatus to be a cocktail bartender, and travel a little bit. Yeah, so some great establishments in Reading. I've worked at, and then in Colorado, I worked at a couple of different places. So when I moved back, I really wanted to kind of hone in on an opportunity. I swear I'm getting to the answer of your question, but hone in on an opportunity that made sense for, like, again, like I said, I got this perspective, and I was actually clear for the first time in a long time what I wanted to do and what I wanted to really focus on. And I didn't want to settle. So I came back, and a friend of mine reached out, and they were looking for someone to do a cocktail menu for them. And so I ended up working with Pagoda City Brewing, right by Alvernia, 18th Ward, baby. Whoop, whoop. And help them open a cocktail lounge. And in that process, a job opened up at the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance. And I applied. And since June, I've been the Director of Advocacy. Um, and the word advocacy is very complicated, but I'll keep it simple, as it's, for me, it's hearing and listening to a community and then helping speak for them, amplifying their voices. So it's listening and putting their voice and listening to their words back out and amplifying it. So yeah, since June of 2024, I've been with GRCA as their Director of Advocacy. So
That's awesome. Congratulations.
thank you. It's a long time. I think it's a long time coming that I kind of ended up here.
It
Other
all paid
people
off.
say, yeah, a lot of people are like, well, no, duh, that makes sense. And I'm like, well, you could have told me 10 years ago. Like, sick. Thank you. Thank you so much. This 10-year journey. And then everybody always follows up. You have to figure those things out for yourself. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you give me kind of like a few points of what exactly your job entails, or maybe a few of the things you've done since you started, or things that you've seen that you didn't know about that you learned?
So, kind of like a lot of what I do is all about like connecting community to local government in a completely nonpartisan way. I know that sounds impossible in the current environment we live in, but I'm telling you, it's real. We are, again, and I hate to sound like that, I don't know, insert whatever media source you listen to, but it's like we are more similar than we are different. Guess what? That's right. Like we are more similar than we are different. And so my days are really spent connecting community, people, businesses to local government in a nonpartisan way, and providing outlets for the community and business leaders to connect to their legislators. It's really important. Like people have power, and sometimes even in hopeless times, we do. We are people, and our voice needs to be amplified. And for me, that's our community, and that's our business community in particular, is kind of working between the two, because both of them, specifically, I support and I work in advocating for the economic development of our area, and both of them are key parts to economic development. And everybody hears that word and it's like, what's economic development? And so it's really all about community involvement, and it's taking community and seeing what you have and using what you have to create conditions that really help people and communities build their skills and talents, and help us almost insularly build this area and this region. And that's really kind of what I focus on, is finding ways we can help each other and help businesses and community working together to find ways to continue to build and kind of roll what we're doing well, and then find our deficits and work on them together. And that's and mine is hearing all of that and then yelling it at legislators as loud as I can, as often as I can. So that's kind of really what it looks like, and it's been quite the learning process. And I'm really glad I spent, before moving to Colorado, 8 years not networking, but 8 years making friends, because friends make the process so much easier. Because friend networking is, I don't know, it's just like, is meeting people, building friendships and creating understanding is that next level of like building relationships is important. And it's not a tit for tat relationship. It's a, hey, I need support. Who can help me? I
Right.
need help. And asking for help is one of the hardest things you can do. I'm sure we've read so many inspirational quotes that say that, but it is. And I'm really glad I spent a lot of time, because in my first 8 months, 7 months, wherever I'm at right now, all I've done is ask people for help and support, and it's been super helpful to really connecting to that next level to make sure voices are heard. So
That's good. You're connecting people and businesses and the community members to essentially create change
that's the
and
goal.
awareness. Yeah.
Well, and again, at the end of the day, I never want to forget, like, the idea of helping people got me here, and I'm never gonna let that go. I can't.
Yeah.
Or else, why did I do it all? Why did I take all?
Exactly.
Why did it take 10 years to figure it out if I let that go? Like, so that's always going to be the goal. And the day it's not, the day things don't align anymore, I guess it's time to find a new goal, right? I know that
Right.
sounds bleak, but it's not. Like, that's how it evolves, and that goes back to my Megan King days of, like, we evolve, and there's dualities to every relationship. And for me, as long as I'm helping people, and I really do feel like having the support of friends that I have made over the years, pushing this work, it really feels like I'm making an impact for the first time in a long time. So
That's amazing. That's awesome. So because I know it's a lot of helping people, but besides that, is there something that you're hoping to accomplish in the work that you're doing in this
yeah,
position?
I think the work that I'm doing. So I really want to kind of get back, and this is aligning with my other kind of core tenet. I really want to get back to making this work about research and about evidence-based decision making. And I really want everybody to kind of, I'm working with, and the community to get on board that these decisions are not random. The
Mhm.
decisions people make are not what they felt that day.
Right.
That this is where, all I learned in my degree and what Alvernia taught me, specifically being a science major, matters. It comes from somewhere. It's not coming off the top of one's head. It's coming off the top of thousands of people's research, hundreds of people's research, and really making decisions that focus on that, and helping our community realize that decisions, and because the public sector, it is not adverse of opinion, right? Like, in fact,
Right.
it has more opinions, and that's what makes this idea of things being research based so difficult. But really kind of lean into, like, accomplishing this idea that the work we do and the work I do, and the, like, this connection and what we're telling these legislators our community needs, comes from what they're saying, and is supported by research, and supported, and the directions we choose are supported by examples from other communities. And no, things are not one size fits all. But you know what? If you take a jigsaw piece puzzle and you cut it a little bit, I bet you can fit it in, right?
Yeah.
And you can change things and alter them to what your community needs. So seeing what other people have done, taking research and applying it to the greater Reading area. That's all I want to do. I,
Yeah, it's not one
it's
size fits all.
yeah, and it sounds so much easier than it is, but you have to start somewhere. And for
Yeah.
me, it's this first 7 months, and hopefully it's a longer career in doing this. So
That's awesome. You definitely have the energy and the passion to be doing this work. Like I feel like there's probably no better person to be in this
oh,
position than
stop
you.
it. No, and that comes from a support network, right? This energy, this passion, everything about this. Yes, it comes from my upbringing, but my upbringing is a piece of me. Every person I've
Mhm.
met along the way is a piece of me. Every lesson I've learned along the way is a piece of me, and that's what fuels it, right? And I know and I'm not, and I know you just said I'm the guy. I'm not the only one. There are so many of us in
Sure.
this community that are right there, and we're all as I learned, it's not chomping at the bit, but champing at the bit, right? And we're ready, right? I'll take something Mayor Moran has said a bunch of times. Reading is ready, and I think this whole region is ready, and I'm so excited to be a part of it, right? Like, why not? Why not us? Why not be a part of it? Why not settle in and really grind the gears and be a part of it? And that's all I want. So that's what gets me so excited. And like I literally am gesticulating out of control. Like I can't
No,
stop.
I love it. I love the
Yeah.
passion. It's so great. Like
So
that passion needs to be there or else the work won't
well,
get done.
thanks. I appreciate it. I
Um,
try at least.
yeah. So I feel like you've kind of along the way talked about the impact that your Alvernia degree has really had on your whole life thus far, from the people you've met to the supportive professors and staff at Alvernia to the different opportunities it's given you and jobs and things to grow. Um, so in taking all of that from Alvernia, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a current student who's at Alvernia?
And this is something I still struggle with to today. And I don't know who said it to me. So if you remember, please send me a message, text me. Seriously. But don't ever be frozen by hindsight. Don't ever be frozen by it. Learn, but don't ever be frozen from making a decision. And this is, directly stolen from Ted Lasso, but every day is a choice. Every choice is a chance, right? And if you're frozen by hindsight, you're missing out on those chances. If you are so fixated on mistakes, and like mistakes are lessons, and like sometimes they cost a bit of money, but like they're lessons, right? And sometimes they hurt relationships, but they're lessons.
Yeah.
They it's all about learning, guys. That is it. Every day is about learning, and learning from others, learning from peers, learning from mentors, learning from your kids if you have kids, learning, and taking opportunities to learn and being willing to accept that you can learn. Um, and if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to accept that you can learn about every single thing you know, and not just about the things you don't know, but I can learn about every single thing I already know. I'm sure of it. There's nothing you can't learn about. It's crazy. Knowledge is everything, right? Learning is everything, at least to me, and I think it is to a lot of people. My mom really pushed that when I was young. She was like, learning and education is everything. No one can ever take that from you. Nobody can ever take that from you. So don't be frozen by hindsight, because that was just a lesson. Every choice is a chance. Every single day is a chance. And it's a chance to do something different. And sometimes those chances lead you to finding your community. And for me, had I not taken chances, and I been frozen by hindsight and fixated on the things I told myself I was going to be, I would have never found my community. And my community is Reading. My community is the greater Reading area. No matter what 17-year-old me that was wearing black and saying, get out of your hometown while listening to emo music says, right? All of those songs that told you, get away from your hometown, wear the color maroon or something like that, right? And I still love them to this day. Don't get me wrong. Next time Motion City soundtrack comes through town, I'm going. But uh, it wouldn't have led me to finding my community, finding my support system, and falling in love with the things we have here and the things we're working to have here. And most importantly for me, don't rule out Reading. I think you went to college here for a reason. Give it a chance. Just give it a chance. This place is so beautiful, and no, it you hear so much about it, but if you hear one thing about it today, hear it from me. this area is so beautiful and the people here are so awesome. And I know that sounds like so elementary, but they really are. I don't know. I've been a lot of places. And I'm telling you, this place is special. So and but that doesn't mean it's for you, and that's fine. But don't not give it a chance, you know. But find your community. Don't be frozen by hindsight. Because if you're frozen by hindsight, you'll never find it.
Great advice. I love that.
I'll try sometimes.
I love it. That's great. But
How is,
I love how you started it by saying, I still struggle with this,
of
but
course,
here's what it is. Like that's
of
raw,
course,
that's real. Like I love that.
of course. Nobody has anything figured out ever, no matter how confident they are. I'm trying my best, but every day I still sometimes have imposter syndrome, even though and I remind myself, like, you went to school, like, you learn every day for this. You put the work in for this, right? Like, and every day it's building relationships and friendships, and you took the time to educate yourself. And I still sometimes sit at my laptop and I'm like, what, who, Uh, right? But don't be frozen by it, right? Like, and if you can't admit that you're still learning, then you're lying to yourself. Everybody is learning every moment. You don't know anything until you know. No, you just don't know anything. You can always learn more about something. Sorry, I
No,
can go
it's
on that
true.
beat all day.
You're 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. So switching gears a little bit and just
Okay.
talking about getting to know Alex here.
All right. What's up?
Can you tell me one fun or interesting fact about yourself?
So this was I kind of struggled. I feel like advice was easier for me than like interesting fact. I don't know. And maybe it's because I kind of get fixated on things a lot, but uh I'm
Okay,
left-handed.
well, we could switch gears if you want.
I
We
just
can do.
I love the fact that I'm left-handed and I don't know why. Almost like cult-like behavior. I love the fact that I'm left-handed. I don't get it. I don't understand why I like it so much. And maybe it's because like I don't know if you know Revolutionary Road, but like we're not as unique as we think we are. Well, I'm left-handed, so I am. Like, and maybe that's it. Like, I don't know. Like I've just always been like kind of fixated on that. I really like the color purple. uh I don't know. One thing I to this day I love the Power Rangers. I just like I know that's like
All
weird.
right, what colors? Which one's your favorite?
Uh Jason David Frank played Tommy Oliver, and he was many different color rangers. He was the green Dragon Ranger, then he was the white Tiger Ranger, and then he was the red Zeo Ranger and the red Turbo Ranger, and then he reappears later as the black Bronchio Ranger and Dino Thunder. Jason David Frank, rest in peace. Love him to death. Tommy Oliver is always going to be a guiding light. And I've always just liked the Power Rangers because I don't know, sometimes life is bleak, and it's really good to know that in some realities, the good guy wins every day. And
Sure.
I know everybody thinks they're like, and perception is key, right? We talked about perception and all that, and perspective and all of that stuff. But in the Power Rangers, it's pretty clear good and bad, and the good guy wins. And that's awesome sometimes, especially when I'm struggling. So maybe that's an
There's a,
interesting fact. I don't know.
there's a good win every day. You just got to find it.
Yeah. Oh, but great advice, too. Use that one. Seriously, use that one. Like, that's awesome. There's a win in every day.
Yeah, there is.
I had
It could be
coffee
a
today.
small one, but it's a win.
We got to talk today. That's a win, right?
There you go.
I
This
love it.
awesome interview that the whole Alvernia community is going to watch right now is this is it. This is your win today,
Ooh,
listening to this.
ooh, ooh, I don't even. Again, back to this imposter syndrome thing. Why am I here anyway? So moving on.
Okay, so outside of work, because we can see all the things that you're passionate about in life, what is one thing like right now that you think you're passionate about or just something that you really enjoy doing at this moment?
Right now.
Yeah.
So I think passion and hyperfixation are similarly different things. I went ice fishing last weekend, and that was really cool. I wouldn't say I'm passionate about it, but that was a lot of fun. And I wouldn't say I'm passionate, but that's kind of what my brain is stuck on. Um, Outside of that, I spend most of my days, my fiance and I have a wedding coming up, and I spend most of my days working on planning that. So, and working on that. Passionate. I mean, music is always going to be a staple in my life. I don't know why I keep trying to come up with things like it's not there for me, right? Like, but it's always there for me, right?
Yeah.
I love music, not just listening, but like just like the whole everything behind it. It's the only thing in my life that has like grounded me, and it's why I thought I wanted to go into music when I was in high school, because it's like this thing is consistent and I love it. But then I was like, I'm not as good as the other people. And then I'm like, wait, if I do this for a job, maybe I won't like it as much. And I'm so glad I didn't, because I'm
It's
not
true.
as good as the other people. And now I just get to have fun with it. And I really like having fun with it. And I really like sitting there and like listening and dissecting things, and then also just like sitting down and fiddling on an instrument and figuring something out. So that's kind
It's
of
your
what.
fun, stress-free habit.
Yeah, it is. And it's fun because there's, again, going back to the themes of understanding and community. There's such a community around it, and I've made such a community of my life. Music, if you know a musician, they're great people. All of them, they're all great people. I mean, shout out to every musician I've met in my life. I have no bad words to say about any of you. You're great. Um, heck, my best friend from college. Louis Lasik. He's still one of my best friends to this day. Class of 25, it's 2015. Let's go, baby. We met because on the second day, we met at orientation second day, we sat together at lunch, and we found out we both played musical instruments, and we both ended up being in band together. And since that moment, he's been my arguably my closest friend I made at Alvernia, and he's been a staple in my life because of it. So, and been one of those support pillars I've been telling you about. So,
Mhm.
and it's all because of music. Most of the friends in my life I made through music. So, I'm gonna stop pretending I'm not passionate about it. I'm very passionate.
You are.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you opening up and sharing your journey with the Alvernia community. Everybody who's watching this right now will learn something from this. You will have so many takeaways. I know I already do. So thank you, Alex, and thank you, Alvernia, for community, for being here to listen to Alex Roché's TED Talk.
Oh, my TED Talk. I kind of like it, but it's never been a goal, but maybe it should be a goal to try and get a TED Talk. I don't know how you do that,
You could
but
do it. You could
maybe I'll
so
put it
do it.
on
I
the
could
list.
see
I don't
it.
know. It was fun. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Yes.
I love talking about this stuff, and I love like I just think it applies, right? Some people, like I said, some people know exactly what they want to do, and others get through 4 years and still don't know anything. And I'm here to support you, right? We don't know anything until we know anything, It sounds so
That's
confusing, but
true.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Alvernia community. Thank you, Alex. Bye,
Thank you, everyone.
everyone.